To the Point. I'm your host, Eric Mitchell, and we got a great show for you today. It's Friday, October 2nd, and yesterday we had an amazing show, our sports show. I want to give a big shout out to my bud, Jeff Lodick, for joining us, talking everything about Week 3, Week 4 recap. Exciting stuff, as you guys probably heard and watched if you've been in the news or checked me out on NBCLX. Just the other day, we were talking about the Tennessee Titans. That game has been postponed until Monday or Tuesday. Still waiting for the final date. NFL's not fast on that one, but we're probably waiting for more tests. Coach Variable of the Titans did report that a few of the players who tested positive are showing some flu-like symptoms. So I think the NFL's doing a great job on that. But today's show, it's like a recap of the NFL and the playoffs, but it's the recap of the presidential debate, which was on Tuesday and shook America and the world. To quote people, it was a poop show, but they used the other word to describe it. It's embarrassing that that's what it turned into. It was very unpresidential from the president's side. From both sides, it wasn't the sharpest tools in the shed. It was just embarrassing that we all were put through that. I think the only people who can pick a winner and a loser out of that would be America. We lost. That wasn't anything to be proud of. We can't hang our hats on that. As a country that's full of pride, definitely wasn't. And before we get into the show and my amazing guest, and I'm excited to bring our guest on, so let me talk about our guest first. First, our guest today hails from the mighty Republic of Texas. His name is Moe Vela. Moe Vela served 2 terms with President Clinton's administration and then served 2 terms with the Obama-Biden administration. 2 amazing presidencies lasting 16 years in total. This man's service goes without question. He is an expert. He served under Vice President Biden and understands what's going on. So I wanted to bring an expert on to give his opinion and insight into the candidate that we see attacked on a daily basis. No, I'm not talking about President Trump, who claims that he's attacked on a daily basis. It's the only man I know that's never done anything wrong. It's like talking to a 5-year-old. Sorry, bro. Sometimes you got to fall on your sword and take fall. That's what happens. Sometimes you got to take the blame. It's called being married. Clearly, all your ex-wives just care about alimony, and you don't really pay attention about that. But it's good to get some insight into Vice President Biden because we don't really get that. We get opinions. We get that he's crazy, he's senile, he's wearing a mic, but we don't get any insight. So I thought I'd bring an expert. Moe like I said, he is an expert when it comes to this topic, so we're excited. You can check out Moe. He's on many networks. You see him everywhere, so we're excited to have him. But before we get to my guest, I want to address a few topics when it comes to the point and what we talk about on this show. 1, my opinions on politics are just mine, folks. They're mine. Nothing that I say or do on this show is to directly sway you to do anything. What I do encourage you to do is vote. The best thing that I've seen on social media in the last 4 weeks is the fact that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and others are putting the option for you to check your voter status. And why some people go on TV and tell you that that's horrible, that social media has no place for that, they do. Because never before have we needed to vote more than now. And I will be standing in line, and I will not have fear of the Proud Boys or any other hate group attacking me while I stand in line and place my vote proudly against Donald J. Trump. I cannot, in my right standard or mind, vote for that man. The man does not respect the military, nor does he respect minorities. I don't give 2 poops what the man says. That's my opinion. All I want you to do as a viewer is to make sure that you rock that vote on November 3rd or whenever you can vote. Make sure you take your ballot, you do it the right way, and you get it and you turn it in. Because America, that's the only way our voices get heard. So that's what we have to do. I don't mean to get on my soapbox, but that's sometimes what we have to do on Fridays is hop on a soapbox. But we have a hell of a show for you today. I'm so excited. I like bringing on these folks that are real deal Holyfields that come on and bring the juice and the firepower. And I know a couple of you are asking. So we, of course, heard you. Linda, we got you. We have an amazing guest for you guys coming this way. So we come back to the break. I got my buddy and expert in politics, the wonderful Moe Vela. To the point, I'm Eric Mitchell, and here we are. The presidential debate was Tuesday night. I don't even know if we want to call it debate, but I brought in an expert. Well, who I lean to when I need expert opinion on politics. You know, if I need legal advice, I go to my buddy Richard Herman. And when it comes to anything in politics, the man you see right here over my shoulder is the wonderful Moe Vela. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. It's good to be back with you, brother.
It's been forever.
It has.
And we were a completely different set, completely different world when we were talking to you before. And you know why I have you here. We are talking about Tuesday. I don't even know if we could call that a debate. I'll give you this, and then I want your initial feedback. I'll tell you this as an average Joe. I know you worked for two amazing administrations who did a bang job. Just a great job, changed America, especially working for that Biden-Obama administration. Talk about just changing the way America was built, getting our first black president, what everybody said that could never happen. Two great terms. And then 2016 comes, and America wants change, and I guess that meant a reality TV star, and he didn't look very presidential. I mean, he hasn't looked presidential for 4 years, but he really did not look like what I would say, this is the president of the, when you just say it, and you've worked for the man, the president of the United States of America belittled a man and his children on a stage, on a global stage. What were your, I mean, am I wrong? I mean, it doesn't matter, left, right, and down the middle. He did not act like a president.
There are so many places that we to go with this. There are so many parts of this that we need to try to unpack, right? So let's start with that. The gamut of emotions. I never dreamed in my lifetime I would experience such a gamut of emotions on a presidential debate in the United States of America. So to your point on this first topic, I thought that the saddest, sickest part of the night in this particular topic, on this particular topic that you bring up, was how low Donald Trump took the office of the president last night. That I didn't ever think in my lifetime I would see any president of the United States diminish the office of the presidency to the lowest human possible level. And that is what he did last night in the context of the institution of the presidency, the office of the presidency. There's about 80 other things that might have even been worse, which is hard to believe, Eric.
I know, but take your time with it. We got a full show here for you. I wiped the slate clean.
It's like, where do you start?
Let's start. I got one for you. I know where I want to start, and we're not going to pick on either of the two gentlemen that were on stage, or one gentleman and one dude that's painted orange. Or as I love Biden.
Or one leader and one liar, as I like to.
I like that one. So the fallout, and I noticed it, I thought he was, I thought he did a great job as a moderator. But it went from a moderator to a soccer mom bringing the team home in her minivan and telling little Donnie in the back to stop throwing things and hitting people, giving people wet willies. You know, I was about ready for him to say, I'm going to have to pull this car over and we're going to deal with this issue. That's how that debate felt. I felt that Mr. Wallace did a fabulous job. Now, other people are saying that he favored Biden, which I watched the whole debate. I don't know what debate other people watched, but our friends on the very alt-right are saying that Wallace was pro-Biden. He was, they're coming up with all these things that he tossed favored questions. I didn't see it. Now, maybe you saw it. I mean, you know Vice President Biden better than most people. Did you see Biden being favored at all?
Not at all. Actually, the problem is when you have a bully in any setting, your children's playground setting, a work setting where there's a bully among the coworkers, a sports team that you do so much on sports, when there's that guy on the team who has that macho bully attitude, What always happens when there's a bully in a setting? What always happens? And that is what happened last night. What happens is the intermediaries gravitate toward the person being bullied. Not because they favor them, not because they're trying to sway anybody toward them, not because they're trying to necessarily promote or advocate for them. A good human being with a good soul, Eric, gravitates to the person that's being bullied. And that's what Chris Wallace did last night. He was like, wait a minute, Mr. President. It's like you said, it's little Donnie, the petulant behavior. It was just petulant. And it was this just force of ugliness. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Just this perfect storm of ugliness. You have the petulant part of Donald Trump, right, with the hateful part of Donald Trump, with the vile part of Donald Trump, coming together in a perfect storm with that instinct he has of his brash bullying style. And it was the perfect storm of absolute disgusting. Like, I don't know any parent in the world. If there was a parent, let me rephrase that. If there's a parent in the world who was okay with their child watching that and thinking that that was the way they wanted their child to grow up to be, I find that parent complicit and disgusting, just like I do Donald Trump. Seriously.
I agree with you. And I am a parent of two teenagers, a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, who will be voting, not in this election, of course, but the next one. And she sat next to me. She's also the creator of the show, so she gets some bragging rights. Shout out to her. But we sat there watching that, and she was almost in tears. Like my 13-year-old left the room. He was disgusted. We watched the Axios interview, which was almost a comedy. I thought it was a comedy special on HBO. I was like, I thought this was a new show. But it was comedy when he's like, who told him we should do less testing. I just felt, and when we get later in the show, I'm going to talk about the hot topic, because I live in Portland, beautiful scenery behind me, and Proud Boys were a topic yesterday. An organization of only 20,000 got major airtime, and actually, let's jump into it right now. We have time before we go to our first break, and I want to talk about this, because this will be a lengthy one. The President of the United States was asked to denounce white supremacy, which should be a pretty go-to thing that you would be like, yep, we're going to denounce that. That's an easy layup. Even GOP people on Wednesday morning were quick to be on networks that even you appear on, Fox News. Brian Kilmeade went on the record and said, I don't understand why the President of the United States did not come out against white supremacy. Instead, he told the Proud Boys, a hateful group that recently appeared here in Portland, Oregon, armed with AR-15s and harassing Portlandiers, a record number of arrests by police department. Thank goodness we didn't have another shooting here. These folks were told to stand by and be ready. Things that you tell the military, stand by, something as a Marine I'm very familiar with. What was your take? You worked for two folks. When I say two administrations, I'm talking the great Clinton administration and the Obama administration. So our guest today, Moe Vela, definitely has an opinion here. What were you thinking? You're sitting there. You've worked with the vice president who's on the same stage. The President of the United States just told a white supremacy group to stand by.
Frankly, I didn't know that Donald Trump could shock me ever again, because he is so vile and has gone so low in the trash and in the mud that there was no way in my mind that this man could shock me again. But I cannot lie to your audience. I was in a state of shock. I'll tell you, I was in a state of shock on about 4 different levels. One, personally, as a Latino and as a gay man, I felt I cringed in a way that I feared for my safety in 2 parts of my life. So I personally was shocked, disgusted, angry, hurt, and I felt violated. Politically, I was shocked, because I don't think I've ever seen such a political stupidity on a no-brainer, as you call it, a layup. My God, you shouldn't even have to think about that one, Eric. What is wrong with you? You know, what is wrong with you?
But Mo, this is how it was. And we come back from the break, we're going to jump more into this. But as we close out, I can tell you as a veteran, I was disgusted by this white supremacist crap. My grandfathers fought to keep that horrible culture that was in Nazi Germany that even the Germans don't talk about.
That's right.
We defeated those people. We defeated those racists, and I don't like them. And I don't understand how we can have a man stand there as our President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, and say, stand by. Because those guys don't intimidate me. They're a bunch of wannabes who put on military t-shirts and go around. They're the guys who tell you, I almost served, except I lived in my mommy's basement and have a meth problem. I don't know. I'm just picking on these people because I don't like them. But when we come back from the break, we're going to jump into it more. But folks, this is going to be a heated episode, so hopefully you're strapped in and got your seatbelt right. We'll be right back with more Moe Vela when we come back. In this election cycle, we're doing debate recap, and I brought in an expert from 2 terms with 2 sitting presidents, and one of the guys who had the ear of Vice President Biden. We're talking to Moe Vela. So Mo, the president, which is known for lying on a regular basis and apparently not caring, he made a statement on stage, and I won't try to do a Trump voice because I'm not very good at it. But he said, I've even got the sheriff of Portland, Oregon, endorse me. Now, about the same time as he finished that sentence, the closest sheriff to the city of Portland, the sheriff whose county sits in there, because I don't know if the president knows how this works, but here on the West Coast we have counties and then we have sheriff departments. That sitting sheriff said he's never endorsed the president, and in fact came out publicly and said he never would. That goes for the other 3 counties that surround the Portland metro area. Why is that? I mean, I guess saying this is like, why was that not a big deal? Why is this man allowed to constantly lie? And why is it anytime the media calls him out on it, it's fake? It's all fake, even though fiction seems to overdo facts. President Obama never got away with this, and President Clinton, you and I both know, never got away with anything. I mean, that man was crucified by the media, but never once, and you worked for both of them, never once did I see President Clinton, President Obama go, fake news, it's fake, or did they fall on their sword? I saw both of them. When we all saw President Clinton fall on his sword.
Yes, he did.
And President Obama, many times we watched the man cry on TV after a mass shooting. Just complete emotion, never telling us how great America is, or how great he is, or how great his ratings are. He never once told us he had a wicked jump shot, even though we all saw it. Never once, but we have this guy, and he's lying in front of us, and nobody says anything. How do we get America to see that this is a problem? You have a compulsive liar on stage, and if he can lie like that on a dime about something as simple as a sheriff, what do you think else he's lying about? So where do we take that?
Everything. So I have a theory on this, and I actually have not verbalized it in the media yet, so I'm going to tell it to you right here. I just realized something last night, and I know people have been saying this for almost 4 years, but I kept avoiding the topic because I think mental health is a very serious issue, and I have been an advocate to Americans and people around the world that mental health is no different than your physical health. So I think having a mental illness is like having the flu, and I want to break that stigma. So I have fought this conclusion and fought it, but I can't fight it any longer, because what I saw last night, Eric, is that this lying, I am absolutely certain of this, Donald Trump suffers from severe mental illness. And I'll tell you, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not diagnosing, but any of us who have gone through the journey of life and have dealt with other human beings and human dynamics and human connection and relationships and just life experiences, you learn, you see patterns and you see trends and you see tendencies. This lying, and I'll tell you what else why I've come to this conclusion. Last night, what I saw was a very mentally sick man. The rage, the bitterness, the self-hatred, this vile behavior pattern, that instinct to just bully, brash, bully, beat, it's a meanness, Eric. And every book I've ever read on like self-growth and self-improvement, every single one of them tells you that if you have demons and you've never healed from your past hurts and the damage that may have been caused to you as a child or even as an adult on your journey, it manifests itself. And that, in my opinion, is what we saw last night, a very, very mentally ill man who has all of these things have come together and manifested itself now in a destructive, mean, hateful human being. He's just evil. And evil comes from mental illness. It does.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you definitely.
It comes because somebody didn't love him enough, or he was told something. And look, I was bullied, and I think I shared on the last time I was on with you. I was bullied in my youth, and I took the time to heal. I took the time to be aware that it had hurt me. I took the time to see that gaping wound and say, I can either choose to go the rest of my life angry because somebody bullied me, or I can take the time to heal so that I can love again. Because you can't love if you don't heal.
Absolutely.
Because you have to love yourself.
Yep.
And this man hates himself, Eric.
Very true.
So to the people watching that still are voting for him, all I can say to them is, please go get counseling, because you've got to ask yourself now, do you suffer from the self-hatred, the same self-hatred? Is it because you can relate to this, right, this lack of capacity to love and care and be empathetic? And I hope in the last segment together we're going to talk about racism, because don't even get me started on that one. Anybody who's still okay with the racist comments, the lack of rebuking the Proud Boys and those types of people, again, if you're still supporting this man after the pathological lying, the hatred, the vile behavior, the anger, just the meanness, right? Then you need to go self-evaluate. Seriously, you got to go figure out what is drawing you to this. And you want to know something, Eric? I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but there is no other conclusion I can come to anymore, my brother. Not one. I have tried 100 different ways to give them an excuse. Seriously. You have to now just be a racist if you support Donald Trump, because there is nothing else that could be attracting you to this vile man. Nothing. Nothing.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I've seen people make that statement online. I've seen more people after the debates come out and say, if you're like, unfriend me. I know I did a whole dissertation on Facebook that night. I went on, it was late at night, came in my office, sat down, and I said, here, instead of writing it, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
If you support this man, if you can come to me and justify, number one, I challenge any person to come on my show. I'll invite you back, and we can gladly, I want somebody to come on and explain to me how you could support the Proud Boys, support anybody who supports white supremacy, anyone who hates the LGBTQ community, which we've seen a lot by his followers. Their anti-Muslim, anti-Semitic rhetoric that they walk around talking, putting these people on this pedestal who vilely go on Twitter. You're right. And I have a whole lot of names, and they know who they are. They come after me. I'm not going to come after them. But there's a whole bunch of them that are this. I mean, how can you say you love America, but you hate our Muslim brothers and sisters? I have some amazing, even in Harlem, there is an amazing, he's GOP too, he's a good friend of mine, Oz Sultan, who's running for office up there, making a difference. How can you say I love the president, but but Muslims are bad. I'm like, that dude would fall on a sword for me. That dude is an awesome human being. I have other Muslim brothers and sisters. But when did we become, it just seems that that party's become racist. And how can you do that?
Absolutely.
Oh, some Muslims are good, some are bad. Well, shit, then some white people are good too. Or some of us are bad. Well, okay, let's go to the break. I need to calm down, take a deep breath. But we come back from the break, we're going to wrap up we got a long run. So when we come back, we got a great recap here with our bud Moe Vela. We're back here with our guest, Moe Vela, sitting here, and we're recapping the debates. And I'm sure we have people watching, oh, are you going to say anything that Biden did wrong? He is a politician. You're right, he is. Was I fact-checking him? I'm sure he was off on some facts, and I thought he caught himself quite a few times repeating the question to make sure he got it right. But that's not what this is about. I'm a military veteran. And there's been things before this president came on stage. He did it again last night. I've even picked on Hunter Biden before I really did my research on him. And I understand that the man has an opioid addiction. And he was discharged, by the way, administratively discharged. That was a big word for a Marine. Big word for me. But he was discharged, not dishonorably discharged from the Navy. He just got out. He has an opioid addiction, which is very common. We have something called OTHs in the military, which is other than honorable, or an administration discharge. Does not mean you're dishonorable. You can still get jobs. And for the most part, a lot of our veterans who come out with PTSD, they have an issue, and they come out as an OTH, and it's turned over to an honorable. There's nothing wrong with that. But America doesn't pay attention to that because people listen to the president. But we have a president who's on the record, who thank goodness, things in the news. We've got fires on the West Coast, and Mo, don't get me started on these trees that just combust by themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's a problem. Yeah. And those trees, I checked the trees. I live in a forest, and I was checking my trees to see if we have those Euro trees that apparently don't catch on fire like the trees.
Yeah. I learned about that last night, yeah.
So did I. And a week before, I learned about trees that just explode after 18 months.
Yes, they do.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Science.
Almost as amazing as when you inject bleach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did not say that. But what was your takeaway? I mean, obviously you're much closer to Vice President Biden than myself or most of our viewers. When you heard the president attack Hunter over and over and over, I'm going to have you answer this, but I'm going to say this. This is why I'm not in politics, and it reminded me reason 1,462. If you sit across from me and you disrespect my son who died after he served our country and not one of your damn children served, and then you go pick on my son who also raised his right hand, has an opioid addiction which affects millions of Americans. In fact, the clown who said it has publicly come out and said that he wants to help people with opioid addictions. The man continually goes after Hunter Biden over and over again. I'm sorry, Joe Biden is a better man than me because I would have reached across the stage. All I needed was 2 punches and a towel just because I want to. And the second is the wipe off the orange that would have got all over my fists. I was so the man is better than me. What was your take on that as somebody who's much closer to this topic, especially the Bidens? What was your takeaway on that? To me, I felt it was very personal, and I thought Joe did a great job not taking it off of the circus that is the Trump family children.
I swear to God, I'm choked up.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it, Eric.
Yeah.
I felt so sad for the vice president. He is such a gracious and kind man. He's a man with such a beautiful heart and such a beautiful soul who cares so deeply about our country. And I literally was teared up as I am again right now because it hurts. It hurts to watch him have to stand there and take it because he was told he couldn't react because he can't. He needed to be his statesman self. He needed to show America and the world how he handles grace under fire. And frankly, it demonstrated exactly why he needs to be the president of the United States and that leader we need right now to unify and heal our country. But your question was, how did I feel? I think the tears in my eyes say it all. I felt hurt for him. I felt sad for him. I felt violated for him. He loves his family more than life itself. And as you pointed out, both of his sons raised their right hand to serve our nation. And then you have this man who isn't remotely, not one iota, worthy to be the commander in chief of the greatest military in the world, with some of the most amazing human beings that serve our nation in our military in the world. And there's so much wrong with it that I don't even, but to answer the question, I was hurt. I was sad. At the same time, the minute I got past that emotion, I was beaming with pride, because, like you just said it perfectly, Joe Biden's a better man than I. Because let me tell you, I know for a fact there is no way. Now, would I have gone over and punched him? Probably not, because even though they say that there are certain things in prison that might be kind of fun for me as a gay guy, but in spite.
Oh, dun. He'll be here all weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Try the veal. Tip your waiter.
You can edit that out. But here's the deal. All joking aside, this was coming from a man who claimed he had bone spurs falsely, so that he didn't have to serve our nation. Yep. And then you have people like you and the vice president's two sons who signed up because they love this country. That's what you call patriotism.
Amen.
And so, to me, it was disgusting. Yeah. Just disgusting. But the bottom line, it was hurtful. Yeah. And I admire the vice president. I admire him even more than I thought. I didn't think I could admire him anymore. Yeah. I really didn't.
He was
and
impressive.
Last night, it even went to a higher level, Eric.
He did.
Because he didn't look over and say, what I can't say on your program, because we'll be fined by the.
It starts with an F, and it's not Merry Christmas. So
that's exactly right, and it rhymes with fire truck, because it's just
shockingly enough
that disgusting. And the vice president kept his composure, and you could just tell it was so painful for him, Eric.
Yeah.
You, the father of two wonderful children, teenagers. You really think at a match that if somebody said something like that about one of your children, you're not going to walk over and get in that person's face?
I'm fighting words, I can tell you that. So let's before I'm going to get fired up again. So what still has me fired up is the president did throw something. He loves bringing up vets. Probably because he's been caught so many times saying bad things about us, from the Honorable John McCain, who spent time as a POW. And I don't care who you are. And if you served and you side with the President of the United States over a POW that you think a guy like that's a loser, you're a loser. But he did make a claim. President Trump, and I'm reading this just because I want to make sure I have the stats correct. I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at the Lincoln Project, the wonderful Army veteran, West Point grad, and combat pilot Fred Wellman for this amazing stat. So President Trump claimed that he had the support of 235 military leaders. Mind you, the top 54 that we all know, including everybody's favorite General Mattis, has come out against the president, but he claimed these 235 leaders, so we did some research. The average age was 76. They're all white males except one woman and two Hispanics. So basically, he's got the support of a bunch of old white flag officers to support him. Great, they're all in the 70s and they have no idea what they're talking about. But Colin Powell, General Mattis, General Kelly, I could go down the list of highly decorated veterans who have served our country during this last 20-year long extended war that we should not be fighting. We should be long gone out of this, but the president keeps us there because he likes war. And he's quick to go dog President Obama for drone strikes. I'm a big fan of drone strikes because it means my friends don't have to go in harm's way. So I'm just saying.
Right.
Drone strikes work. They're pretty cool. Sorry if you've been affected by a drone strike. I think they're good. But what what do you think goes through this guy's head? Does he think? I've heard that he doesn't respect veterans, nor do they care about their their voting count. There's about 25 million veterans in America, makes up 3% of the country. Are we really not that big of a deal, or do we have a voice? Where do you think veterans sit in this? Because we have the Hispanic community from your home state of Texas, which is making a big difference in voting polls. We have the black community, which, of course, the man we're talking about claims that he's done more for black people, almost more than Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves.
More damage, maybe.
Yeah, more damage. I mean, he doesn't really. And then veterans. How does this guy get away with this? I mean, we already know he's not a fan of the LGBTQ community because I've never heard him come out in favor of anything. Where are we at with this? I mean, we'll have more with Moe Vela after this break. We're going to come back and finish this conversation and answer our question about what's going on with our veterans and why this current president seems to have such a deal with people in service. Claims to love the military, yet sometimes I would question, I don't see the love from the attacks on John McCain, the Honorable John McCain, to other military, including dogging General Mattis, one of the most famous Marine Corps generals of his time. So when we come back from the great break, not the great, please don't come back from the great, but come back from the break, we're going to continue our amazing conversation with today's guest, the wonderful Moe Vela.
Actually lump them in and unintended consequence in lumping them all in. You actually, in my opinion, did something brilliant, and let me tell you why. There is a disproportionate number. There are a disproportionate number of African American and Latinos that join the United States military, right? And so to lump them in is appropriate, because when these folks that are in the military now, or those that have just come out of the military and they're now veterans, think about this. The vast majority of them are African American or Latino. I shouldn't say the vast majority. Many of them are, right? Many of them are. Probably majority, minority, if you combine African American and Latino. So this hits on all fronts, Eric. On all fronts. So here's the deal. Vets, first of all, need to be reminded. Let's talk about the truth. First of all, by the way, over 500 military leaders have endorsed Joe Biden. So 200 and whatever to Donald Trump, who quote unquote is the commander-in-chief. Over 500 military leaders have endorsed Joe Biden. Number one. Number two, to those veterans that you are speaking of, my message to them would be, if you want to be honest and you really want to tell the truth is, go back and look at which of these two men has had your back. The 8 years of the Obama-Biden White House, I watched the First Lady and the Second Lady, Michelle Obama and Jill Biden, and Barack Obama and Joe Biden, put more attention, more love, more support, more resources toward military families, to the military, and to veterans than anybody I've ever seen in my lifetime. And then you have this man who calls you suckers and losers. And so I hate to say it, but it goes back to what we said in the last segment. If you're still okay with being called a sucker or a loser, or you're okay voting for a man who will not rebuke white supremacy, but rather encourages white supremacy, if you're okay with voting for a man who paid a porn star while he was married to his wife, if you're okay with a man who cheats on all of his wives, who's got 3 baby mamas, who denounced the Gold Star families, right? Who speaks ill of John McCain, an American hero. You're okay with all that? Go get yourself checked. Something's wrong with you.
Oh, Mo, I love having you.
Something's wrong with you.
Amen. So, Mo, I hate to do this, but our fun time together, this Walt Disney ride of Debate 2020, we'll have to have you back. If we get a second presidential election, I know Camila's going to wipe the floor with that weirdo from Indiana, the other vice president.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for joining us today. Let's have you back. If we do get a second presidential debate, let's have you on so we can talk about it. But I want to thank you so much for joining us here today on To The Point. So thank you so much.
Eric, you know how much I love being on with you, brother. And again, it needs to be said, thank you for your service and the service of all our military veterans and our current enlisted military personnel. We thank you, we love you, and we appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome. I don't know what to say to that, so you're welcome. That is our show for this Friday. This is wonderful. This is October 2nd. Can you believe we're already this deep into October? We're on the second day of October, so we're well into fall, heading into October. We got Halloween at the end of the month and a presidential election almost 30 days away. Phooey. It's going to be a fun ride, I'm sure. We do have a vice presidential debate this coming Tuesday. So enjoy your weekend. We have an amazing college football schedule. We also have an amazing football schedule for Sunday. So I'm excited about Sunday. Great football schedule. The NBA finals continue on. The WNBA finals are well underway. And the Major League Baseball playoffs continue on. Also, either Monday or Tuesday, they have the postponed Steeler-Titans game will be aired. So hopefully we get a day here. Hopefully later today or this evening on Friday, they will give us the date. That'll be nice if they told us when that would be. But it was an amazing day. Hopefully that conversation, you were able to take heed and listen to what comes out. When it's a presidential debate, it's important to get the experts, and I will continue to bring the experts on this show. And I know sometimes we may ruffle feathers and people will need to screenshot the things that we say. But this is to the point. We're unfiltered and uncensored, and we bring it to you as the average Joe. See, folks, I'm nothing special. I'm an average Joe who stands in front of a camera and brings you the news and pop culture and entertainment and entrepreneurship with a little flair to it and a little snark. And whether you like it or not, I'm just trying to be the voice of everybody. And if I can't be the voice of everybody, I'll be the voice of some. So I want to send a special shout out on this Friday to those of you that tune in Monday through Friday and watch our show and send me comments. I thank each one of you for doing that. It means a lot to me. You have no idea. With our team and building this show as we want to go. Big shout out to Biz TV for giving us an opportunity on their network. It's been great with our almost first month with them now being on air and doing all these things. So I wanted to give that special shout out to our friends over at Biz TV. Remember, you can watch us Monday through Friday live on Biz TV at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, in the middle. Figure it out. That's what we have for you. Wow, we don't have a lot, but it's just great. And I just want to tell you that, that's what we do here. So if you have a story or you want to know something or recommend a guest, please feel free to message us. We listen and read all of our messages. And of course, you can always email us at hello@tothepointtv.com. That's hello@tothepointtv.com. Feel free to use social media and follow us on Twitter, To The Point TV, Instagram, To The Point TV. Of course, on YouTube and on Facebook, follow us at To The Point TV with Eric Mitchell. That's me. And you can follow along there. That way you never miss a show. All of our replays are there. And you can also see all the replays of this show on bizvod.com. Simply go on to Biz TV, check shows, look under current news and events, and you will see us there next to some amazing shows that appear on the network like Liquid Lunch and others. You'll see us right there next to them under To The Point with Eric Mitchell, and you can catch past episodes. So, on behalf of the entire To The Point team, we want to thank you, and big shout out to our music guest, or our music provider of our show, the amazing veteran-run group Space Force. They had an amazing release earlier this week with even Marine Corps veteran Shaggy, who is a Grammy Award winner, appearing on their track. So go check out Space Force. Check them out. They're amazing. Go give them a listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, wherever you find music. You can find the amazing folks who put that song in your head, To The Point with Eric Mitchell, by our boys over at Space Force. So I just want to give them a big shout out for amazing work. As always, I'm Eric Mitchell. Be safe, be smart, be strong, and God bless America.
We gon' talk about sports and the politics. You gon' hear what content. Whether tragic or it's happy, Eric will cover whatever's happening. Whether it be your gymnast, toe tapping, talking about nearly any athlete, not taking a back seat. You're never gonna get it past T. Everybody running from it, it's a stampede. But he's on it like this man who took